Over someone truly exceptional.
Well, I've got the results here of the Form 3A, Who Would You Most Like to Be competition, held in July 1957. And the results are first Elvis Presley, which was not surprising in '57, second Peter May, the England cricket captain, and third, this is sensational, Patrick Moore. Yes, in 1957, our school Form 3A in St Albans voted Patrick Moore the third most important person, the third person you'd like to be after Elvis and Peter May. And I, of course, didn't know Patrick then. I was a little lad in short shorts. And I first met Patrick on the cricket field. And he was a rather distinguished slow bowler. The stuff he delivered was so slow that if he didn't like it, he could walk down the wicket and collect it before it got to the batsman. He could try again. But he clearly knew his stuff, and I thought, this is a great man, because when I was, A, he loved cricket, and B, when I was very small, even before I'd heard of Patrick, I was born in 1944, around about the time of Brian's first hit record. I became very obsessed with astronomy very early on. I mean, seriously, it sounds rather as if I was a bit of an anorak child, but about literally 1950-51, when I was 5 or 6, I became obsessed by the planets, and I just loved the solar system and the poetry and the names of the planets, the moons of Saturn, Mimas, Enceladus, Tethys, Dione, Rhea, Titan, Hyperion, Iapetus, and Phoebe. And I don't believe that any moon of Saturn discovered since then counts. You know, as I'm concerned, Saturn still has 9 moons. And when I first discovered Patrick Moore on television in the late 50s, that was exactly my world. And he became somebody who really taught people like me, children, and of course many, many adults, that astronomy was, as Brian said, was so important. It put us in our place. This is the great thing about astronomy. It makes us realize who we are and what we are. And when you've got somebody like Patrick, who is a larger-than-life, gifted man, who, in a way, has every right, or had every right, to be arrogant, because he was highly intelligent, charming, very, very generous, and yet he knew that he actually, in the greater scheme of things, wasn't that important. But of course he is. He is very important to all of us. And I loved playing cricket with him. I played in a few Lord's Taverns games, and he really wasn't at all bad. I mean, you know, he had that gift of bewildering the batsman who would think, this is easy meat. You know, I can hit this chap for 6, and somehow it didn't quite go where the batsman intended, and he'd be caught at long on or snick it to the slips. And I just felt that, like me, Patrick's love of cricket came through a kind of instinctive love of mathematics and statistics. And obviously there's much more to both astronomy and cricket than that, but there's a common link between the two causes, in that they're both very much based around facts and figures, which in themselves can be romantic. I feel very strongly that mathematics is not something boring, as astronomy of course isn't, but mathematics, which is the key to almost everything in life, and particularly to astronomy, that's not boring. Mathematics is something that exists, even if we didn't. If there was no human being ever on this planet, pi would still be 3.14159. This is something which Patrick explained to me. He made me realize that the universe was much more important than we are. And the tragedy is that we can't all live to be 2,000 or 3,000 years old. It'd be great if Ptolemy was around now. I just think, you know, he'd really enjoy the sky at night. He'd be, you know, absolutely amazed by what we've discovered. And we are like Ptolemy now in the year 3,000 or 4,000. It will be unbelievable what, if we're still here and we haven't destroyed ourselves, it will be absolutely amazing to see what could happen. And when I used to see Patrick on the very final programs he made the last 2 or 3 years, when he was clearly, you know, by Patrick's standards, going into, you know, obviously there wasn't an awful lot of time left. One thought I kept thinking was, what a tragedy that this great mind ain't going to be around to see what's going to happen in 100 years' time. Patrick, the human being, I hope Patrick the Spirit is actually here tonight, but Patrick the human being would never know, will never know whether there is life on other worlds, which he and I, I'm sure everybody here, is absolutely convinced there is. There's no question on my mind that for all the billions of worlds out there, that there are other people probably now having a nosh somewhere in a Selsey on a different planet, toasting some British Patrick, some similar character. And Patrick, for me, was somebody who transcended time and space. So I'm very, very grateful to him for encouraging my enthusiasm and to have got to know him personally, not as well as many people here tonight, but I knew him well enough, and I was very much in awe, but loved the man. He was a great